Hello everyone, welcome to another Clayoo webinar. This is Pedro from Gem Vision Barcelona team, and today we will see the main features of Clayoo. So as you know, Clayoo is the plugin for organic modeling inside Rhino, and now let's open. In this case, we have MatrixGold. We are going to do a ring today. And as you can see, also Clayoo inside MatrixGold. And we are going to mainly focus on today's webinar on the subdivision modeling. So the ring we are going to turn on the sub-D here on the Clayoo first icon. And as you can see, now we have this viewport toolbar. Wherever is the active viewport, it will be this toolbar. Mainly, we can define selection mode for edges, faces, points, and let's then create the ring, or in this case, a starting point. We will choose the ring, and as you can see, we have already defined a ring. Of course, we could choose any ring size we want. We could define the measurements. In here, it's just important to define also the number of divisions. As you can see, usually we don't need so many divisions. All these edges that you can see, we add more divisions when we need to add more details to the model. So far, it looks good, so I just click OK, and I'm going to move on. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat. Mainly in the end of this exercise, I will dedicate some time for the questions. So feel free to let me know anything you need. At this point, once we have the ring, I'm going just to load main gem. So we have here the gem. I'm going to move it up. Just defining the position, make sure the gem size, I want a 5mm gem, and looks perfect. Maybe move down a little bit more. And I have already the main things I need, the reference of the ring size, the gem, the central gem. So from here, what I'm going to do is to create a bezel. Back to the Clayoo. We have under the creation, again, we will find the bezel tool. So I'm going just to select the gem where I want to apply the bezel. We already have the bezel here around the gem. We can adjust the position, the thickness, and all. So once we have the bezel around the gem, now I'm going to prepare my ring. The idea is to create kind of a bypass ring connecting the bezel with the shank. So let's start working on these two parts. The first thing I'm going to do is to select, maybe let's start with hiding the shank. And I'm going to face the selection mode, and I'm going to select, probably in the top view will be easier, select half of the bezel and delete. So I'm going to delete also this part. The idea is to connect the bezel with a kind of bypass. So I just want this part of the bezel then connecting with the shank. So I'm going also to delete this. And back to the perspective, as you can see, now we have the bezel, just part of it. And please note that when the object, the Clayoo object, is not closed, you will have this pink edge, this naked edge. So the first thing we will do now is to go to edges selection mode, double click to select the entire loop of edges, and we will find in here what we will use is the append face, and under creation to cap this side, and exactly the same in the other side. We will cap it so we have it closed now, and the other back to the shank. I'm going now to hide the bezel just to be easier. Select the entire object, hide, and from here let's, maybe in the front view will be easier. We will select the faces selection mode, and I'm going again to delete half of the object. So just delete in the keyboard. The same with these faces. I want to connect from this part, so I delete this as well, and I can show my bezel back to the perspective. Now you will see that the idea is to connect these two parts. Once again, I'm going to close. I have this naked edge, so back to the edges selection mode, select with double click the entire loop, and again cap it. We could adjust also the position. It's not a bad idea, just to define this movement, this transition to be smoother. Maybe with the edges selection mode, we can also drag this side. As you can see, automatically the gumball will appear on the selected objects. So once we adjust, we can also maybe scale a little bit. We just change the gumball to scale. We have one direction scale, looks good. So now the idea is to connect these two faces from this side to the other side. I want to create this connection, creating like a bypass ring. So to do this, we have under the addition, we will find the bridge. So the bridge automatically connects these two faces. Of course, we have a couple of options to add more divisions, and in this case, I just leave it like this. Looks perfect. And once we have one side of the ring, what we will do is to create the symmetry. In this case, maybe with a rotation will be easier. So what I'm going to do is to select the entire Clayoo object and rotate from the center. So the idea is to make sure in the command line the copy option is yes. So I'm going to rotate from here to here, 180 degrees, enter, and we have the other side of the ring. We are just missing this connection. So we have here on both sides naked edges. We need to connect these two parts in a single one. And let's make it with, under the edit, we will find the weld tool. So we just select the points we want to weld, enter, and as you can see now, we have it in a single object. So this is the main body of the ring, this bypass shank. We will also add some gems. From the subdivision, as you can see, there are many useful tools that we can really create these smooth shapes. And we will also be able to, for instance, to add some gems in here. One thing that we can find in Clayoo is the possibility to extract the ISO curve. So we will find it under the, I think it's under the edition. Let me just make sure. Extract ISO curve, maybe under the creation. Here we go. So I just forget to end the weld, in this case complete command, to finish, and now we will go to extract the ISO curve. So what we want is a curve along my object. So I just select the edge perpendicular to the direction I want the ISO curve, and then I click in the position I want. As you can see, it will get the entire loop on the Clayoo object. What I want is to select here the center position. And finally, now we have the curve where we will use as reference to place our gems. But from the Clayoo, it's mainly everything done. Let's just turn off. As you can see, it will convert the Clayoo object to, once we have Clayoo turn it off, we won't be able to edit. This means that if we want to adjust any detail any moment, we can come here and turn on and adjust whatever we need. So at this point, as I want to place gems, we will just define the gems on curve. I select the curve, and then in here we can use the start point, just drag the center point to the start position. Maybe we can start from this side, and then adjust also the gem size. Let's make it 1.5 maybe. And the end point, let's place it in the other side. Here looks good. So the gems are ready. We will need also to create the settings and the hole, the stone seat. So we are going to create the cutters. And to do it, we will need to do a Boolean operation. Any moment we can convert our Clayoo objects into NURBs to be able to use the Boolean. So let's do it with back to Clayoo, in this case, conversion to NURB. So we select the Clayoo object, enter. We can keep or delete the original. I usually want to keep it because in case of any addition, we want to edit the Clayoo object any moment, we can come back to it. So I'm going to hide it. And now we have our solid, our poly surface. And the idea is to apply some cutters and some settings, in this case, some prongs. So as you can see, we have the prong studio here. We can define the prong size, the prong height, just make sure exactly as we want. And once we have the gems and the prongs, the final step for this will be to apply the cutters. Here we go, gem cutter. We can define the settings. In this case, I want to create a pilot hole to make sure it will be completely inside, so the length of the cutter is inside the ring size. So the cutters are ready. We have it ready to make the Boolean. So let's go back to the Boolean operation. In this case, I want to select the ring, enter, and the objects to remove the cutters to create the seat. So the Boolean in progress. As you can see now, we have the holes. Let's probably change the render display. So this is the result. We have this organic modeling with this bypass ring. I hope you enjoy it. And of course, let us know all your questions. It's always a pleasure to be able to help. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. And we will dedicate these 5-10 minutes more to answer all the questions here in the chat. Once again, thank you for joining us today.